Maiers, everybody.
Thank you. He's not cuter than Peter Reynolds, I'll just tell you that. I'll be talking to Peter and he'll be like, what did you just say? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. And this is why I love the web so much in the world. Because I'm not coming here to a group of strangers. Whether I know you now, I will know you. And we will stay knowing one another and stay learning from one another. Whether it is through Twitter or whether it's through some of your colleagues sitting there on Twitter, it keeps us connected, and that's our survival. Our ability to be together and to revive and revitalize. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Is it smooth too? I didn't probably wear the right outfit for the mic, but all right. So I think this conversation about passion is not just important for our children and their passions. This day, this hour, this moment that we're together is for you. Is to help you understand that what you're filled up with defines what you're able to do. You matter that much, and sometimes, not sometimes, especially as a leader, when you have so many to take care of, the last person that you take care of is yourself. So I just want you to turn to one another this morning and just really seriously look in someone's eyes and tell them that they matter. You matter. You really do. To the mood of the room. Not that you guys were in a bad mood before, but it does something biologically to you. It's impossible to not respond. We are so starved for our own presence, for someone to notice that what we're doing matters. I am here to confirm to you. I notice you. I value you. I absolutely know what job you're doing every day. Not in the fact that I'm doing it, but as close to walking in your steps as I can. There's no one else that can understand that from any other view. So this talk is for you. I just came back, speaking of Web 3.0 or Web 4.0, literally last night at 1 in the morning from a conference called South by Southwest. How many of you have heard of South by Southwest? So I wasn't familiar until just a couple years ago, and I heard all this stuff about South by Southwest. It's basically the world that we live in now starts becoming created at South by Southwest. So industry leaders from all over the world across music, industry, film, technology, new innovations, companies, individual startups, all come together to the tune of nearly 1 million people. And they said, like, it's crazy down here. It was crazy down there. And I had not been to Austin, so Austin was amazing. And it almost is undescribable. I mean, usually I'm not speechless. So I get there, and the only thing that can get out of my mouth from South by Southwest is passion. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous how much passion there was. From the second you got off the plane at the airport, you could feel tangibly this energy in the air. It was dripping at every session, at every place, from the cab ride over. And I'm so mad because I videotaped it, and I lost my phone already. So I videotaped it, and I'm user error, so none of the videos turned out. And like, I taped the cab driver, I taped somebody at the restaurant. Their passion was just exuding, and it was extraordinary. It even followed me home from the airport. I'm standing in line, just running to get my plane to come here and try to make it on the plane. And this guy, or this group of guys was standing behind me, and they had the silliest grins on their face, like they couldn't even speak. And I'm like, you just came from South by Southwest. I have to, I understand. And I'm like, so, and they're like, you're so ridiculously satisfied. I thought that's very interesting. When you come back from a conference, you're like, oh, how was it? What did you learn? I like this. But when do you say, I am satisfied? So I thought, I looked at their t-shirts, and they had this thing called Start Bus on it. I'm like, oh, tell me about Start Bus. They said, oh, it's this world competition. It's really amazing. And they prep for it because you're in front of every industry leader. You're in front of Google, to Amazon, to every single person that would move your startup forward. So they take 3 entrepreneurs, and they stick them on a bus for 3 days. Can you imagine? Stick them on a bus for 3 days. They drive all over for 3 days, and they cannot leave the bus until they come up with a full-blown company. And then they have to put a commercial together while they're on the bus, and then they're put in front of these audiences, whether their company or their cause to the world was with industry or with music or whatever it was, and they pitch to the people that need to hear the pitch. And there's multiple, like hundreds and hundreds of things. So I thought these guys won. They're like, we're so satisfied, they're smiling, they can hardly. I'm like, oh my God, you won this, what did you? He's like, oh, we didn't even get close in the thing. We didn't even get to round like 1 out of 100. And I'm like, why are you so happy? Like what? He goes, because we have passion. Our success is imminent. And I'm like, wait a minute, can I get my phone out? I'm pulling out my phone, that one. So then they started talking. Of course, I don't have the video camera or the videotape because it didn't turn out. But what you could hear in their voices was their unwavering confidence that no matter if they were turned down 100 times, that this company was going to jump off, that this company was going to be eminent success. What was their conviction? It's not because they had the funding, it's not because they had the technology, it's not because they even had the right stuff to make it, they had passion. So I said to this group of 5 guys, I said, well, rate on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, how important is passion in your inevitable success, as you're so confident? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think they said? It is off the charts. It's immeasurable. That's like asking somebody, do you need to breathe today? How important is breathing to you? How about water? How important is water to you? How important is passion to the world and to the industry? That's a question I think we should talk about today. How important is passion to you? How important is passion to our industry? Is it something that we couldn't imagine protecting and preserving and promoting because it would be like withholding air and water from each other? I want you to turn and talk about, on a scale of 1 to 10, whether it be your school or industry as a whole, education, how important is passion to education? Because I'm going to show you in just a minute how important passion is to the technology industry, to the innovation industry, to the business, to sales, to whatever industry is out there. How important is passion to the education industry? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say? Do we hire for it? Do we fire for it? Do we differentiate because of it? Do we celebrate it? Do we secure it? Do we demand it? You can hold your answers right now. I think I want that question to linger. That's a question to keep coming back to. The benefits of what I call PQ, your passion quotient, as an individual, as a community, as a brand, as an industry, are tangible. This is not some warm, fuzzy, like ambiguous thing, like, ooh, is passion like fairy dust, and ooh, you get some. No, it's extremely tangible. And it is documented both in behavior and in productivity, and now confirmed in neuroscience. So this is like not a sale for my book, but if you want to get my book, there's a whole bucket load of research in every field of study and science that confirms passion in the way you learn, in the way you work, in the way you live your life in terms of significance. But you could go to real time, and we could find out directly from the industry trendsetters and leaders how important it is. An advanced search on Twitter where you can get what we call brand perception. So if there's an event or there's a product that you can search by the name, like South by Southwest, there's 57 million tweets on it, but you can categorize what are the most powerful words when people talk about the experience at South by Southwest. What are the top hashtags that they put in there that tell how they feel, tell what they heard, tell how they synthesize and summarize either a specific, content there or the overall experience. I could not read. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages because the #1 hashtag, and it's hard to see a little bit, is passion. And I want you to look who's talking about passion. So Tim O'Reilly, if you don't know him, the web that you know right now started with Tim O'Reilly. He was one of the founding individuals that created the Clue Train Manifesto that was responsible for what we now call the World Wide Web. So what's Tim O'Reilly, the guy who created the web, now Al Gore, say about passion? He talks about who are the new individuals that are going to lead. They are based deep in domain knowledge and passion. Space enthusiasts, so this is new technology for astronauts and rocket scientists and that propel not only an industry, but our country and our globe to new levels. What do they say about passion? We have to share our passion together. Love your passion. People are pointing it out, talking about it, labeling it, oozing it. How about here? Other industries. Major theme of Chevy, the panel, cross-generational passion linked to cars. I didn't realize that when I looked at a car, you don't think, well, I see metal in it, and I see aluminum in it, but I also see passion in it. Passion in research. Passion is disruptive. O'Reilly's advice to young entrepreneurs: work on stuff that matters and find people with equal passion to work with you. If you are around somebody without equal passion, they are fired, they are not let in the door. Zappos pays individuals, listen to this, they pay individuals that don't have the exact passion quotient and they measure it, money to quit the company. Because one passionless employee is a cancer and will destroy their cutting edge, leading edge in the company. So when we say passion as a warm fuzzy thing, like, oh, that's so sweet, let's rah-rah, passion is cutting edge necessity for industry, for innovation, for development, and for humanity. Take a look at this and just turn to your neighbor and think about what is the priority on a scale of 1 to 10 across every industry, across every development that will affect your life, my life, and our students' life. Where does passion rate in priority on a scale of 1 to 10 to the rest of the world? And what implications is that for our call to prepare kids for that world? So, the empirical data, the visible data, the tangible, performance-driven results of people and organizations that prioritize passion, or what I call are passion-driven, and understand it in a very, very concrete way. These are the results. They hire for, they fire, they recruit, they select, they differentiate, and they succeed because individuals within their organization or within their classroom or within their school have these qualities. It's unmistakable. You can't miss it. It drips from your pores when you see passion in action. There is nothing at all warm fuzzy about this. And the number one sort of emotion or outcome associated with passion is happiness. There's a difference between being momentarily happy, engaged, or excited and being fulfilled, being satisfied, being significant. And that's exactly what our kids should leave our classroom feeling. To understand what it is like to pursue something, to study something, to be a part of and around passion-driven individuals and work actually produces the very attributes that we are dying to produce. And for being so data-driven, it's kind of ironic that we collect data over and over that these are the attributes that we want. We want innovation, we want creativity, we want problem solvers, we want people who stick to it, we want powerful imaginations, and yet it doesn't match up because if passion doesn't match up with the action, then it's just simply something that will remain unreachable. That's my goal today, is to help you match up our beliefs about passion with our actual, tangible actions. The day-to-day, small and big decisions we make in our classroom and in our community and in our schools. How do we do that so that we produce content, contributions, and individuals that are fanatically disciplined, that are fiercely driven, that are empirically creative, that are confidently but humbly unstoppable? Because it doesn't matter what job they will hold. And that's where we get all caught up. I don't know what jobs I'll have, so I don't know what skills to teach. Well, I don't know what to put third quarter, fourth semester here. Well, what do we put on that chart that we're going to lay out that will be obsolete in 14 seconds? this is a pretty accurate recording, and you can read this on my blog, but this group of individuals for 25 years has been predicting accurately the fields and the jobs, which I can't even pronounce. I don't even know what a Polyvet trainer is, a biomass therapist, whatever, chef farmer, I don't even know, clone rancher. I don't even want to be one of those, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The only skill that will get you in the door, that will allow you to even be looked at, will be passion. It is not a nicety. It is non-negotiable, and it is a necessity. Do you believe this? Our challenge today is to prove it, to talk about it, to be really open about it, to make it a priority, to talk about it. If I walk into school, like I couldn't walk to the restaurant at South by Southwest without overhearing a conversation that was passionate or openly, explicitly talked about how their passion influences, or how they got rid of somebody, or how this person on their team isn't working because they don't have the passion to do the hard work, because the root of the word passion is to suffer. And you will not be able to do hard work that is challenging and difficult, where you would be willing to give anything, to give up anything to accomplish it, because it's just that significant. You have nothing without passion. You can have the brightest skill in the world, but you will encounter difficulty. You will encounter challenge, and suffering is not optional. You can't be like, please let this be smooth. Please don't let me run into anything. I mean, it's ridiculous to even think that there won't be hurdles. So we have to prove this. And we prove it in how we talk, how we walk, how we prioritize. We prove it in our choices. And this is why it is so important to prove it early and prove it often. Passion is a lot of things, but passion is unforgettable. It's unmistakably unforgettable. And 2 years ago, passion changed my life. I thought I was really passionate. I thought that I really deeply understood what it meant to live a life that you were supposed to live. And I often get my thoughts cleared up about how to sort and direct my passions and what to focus on. This is the bike path behind my house, and I'm running it one day, and it's plastered with about 100 of those signs. And if you read them closely, it's like, don't kill the animals. Here's some animals not to kill. It's a call to action, like, pay attention, world. There's a problem in the world. What was really compelling is that there were hundreds and hundreds of signatures. You walk by, and then there's these little bowls, like these little soup cans, like, here's a quarter, here's a dollar, here's 15 cents. Everybody in our whole neighborhood gathered around, and I'm like, oh my God, who is this world changer? I have to find them. And I went, the gingerbread house, I went through the pebbles, I'm like, I gotta find this writer. I'm knocking on doors. Do you own this writer? Is this writer here? Is this world changer live here? I'm really not crazy. I've got to find this writer. And I did. And her name is Haley. And she was 4 and a half. She was just getting ready for kindergarten. And she blew me away. She made me look like just that I was asleep in my life, in the way that she lived her life with passion and purpose. So I met her mom let me in, and she's like, would you like to come out to my lab? And I'm like, I would like to come to your lab. Like, I was going to Einstein's lab, and all over papers and her research and every book on endangered animals. She had a goal sheet. She was raising money for this panda bear in Canada, and she then looks at me as I'm just sitting there in awe, and she goes, would you like to see Plan B? Because remember, passion is unstoppable. It doesn't matter if you've overcome one. You're not ever finished. It's fierce unstoppability. So she goes, this is it. She's wearing it. So she had 7 different colors because she was very compassionate about her mother. She goes, my mom is really tired. She can't wash every day. So there's one for every color. And at her little age of 4, she said, this problem is so significant in the world. And I know that I have to reach as many people to help me solve it. And if only the people that walk in our neighborhood, in our path, they're the only ones that are going to know about this, she didn't say crisis, but this crisis of endangered animals. So everywhere I go with my mom, when I go to the grocery store, when I go to the movie theater, when I go to the mall, I wear this And on the back, of course, I didn't get a picture of it, it says, ask me more. But it's just an abbreviated version with only icon. Don't kill these animals. Manatees, pandas, blah, blah, blah. And then you turn her around, can you imagine her with 4-year-old? Ask me more, it's insane. But here's what changed my life. I was running with my writing partner for the Passion Book. We were both, like, slobbering over each other, like, oh my God. And she looks at us, she goes, what are you fighting for? And Amy and I were like, we'll get back to you, but and then we came back to her house, this is what we're gonna do, I swear we're gonna do this, we're gonna take action. She's taking action from the moment she breathes, and I'm sitting here talking about taking action, what do I do to change the world? And wow, how can I look at her in the eyes and go, well, you just go do that and I'll be over here for a little bit. It's not okay. And as extraordinary as she is, and she is ordinary when she's placed in a classroom of her peers. When she sits in a room of 35 other 5-year-olds, how many 5-year-olds have these qualities? Fiercely disciplined. Have you seen a 3-year-old who is a dinosaur expert? Have you met a 4-year-old who has studied robots, every second of air and breath, and can do more with robots than possibly should even be done? Who will sit and play with Legos for 15 hours straight until you force them to eat? Have you seen that kind of fierce drive in a 3-year-old and 4-year-old? Have you seen discipline? Hours upon hours of investigating the same topic deeper and deeper and deeper. Have you seen empirical level? What can be done with a stick or a blade of grass or an empty box is astounding when you put it in front of a group of 5-year-olds. We don't have to make up some stupid curriculum or pull a committee together how are we gonna get our kids passionate? We better get a bigger this and a wider that and something that has this kind of belt. It's ridiculous. What we have to do is we have to keep it. We have to keep it. They have it. Our commitment when we meet in the committees is what are we gonna do with these geniuses that are sitting in our classroom right now? Because we are making them unemployable by the time they leave 3rd grade. Because by 3rd grade, and the data is very clear, you can look at Project Zero, Harvard Zero, if you know Ken Robinson's book, there's 2 major studies, one with 5,000 5-year-olds. There's a book called The Talent Code that is another offshoot of the Harvard study. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of 5-year-olds have been tested with the same result. 98%, I think it's 98.9%. I don't even know where they found the other 2 because I've been looking. Of every 5-year-old across culture, across economic status, across every boundary that we say is a gap, has 98% of these qualities because they are born with passion. It is something from the inside. No one gives you passion. It is your gift and your presence, and it is your responsibility to own it. So I want you to talk about that for a second because they're coming. They're here. They're sitting in your classroom now. And they need you to think about these 2 things. How are you going to make their passion, your community's passion a priority? And how are you, for the ones that actually are in 3rd grade or in 5th grade, because out of 10-year-olds, we've lost 70% of our passion quotient. And if they make it to high school, only 2% will graduate with the same PQ as they came into school with in kindergarten. Our 2 responsibilities, our obligations, but also our opportunities, are to make passion our priority and to increase PQ. And I'm going to share with you exactly how to get both of those at the same time. So what we begin today is to ignite conversation. There isn't like a 3-ring binder that you're going to leave and go, okay, I've got that passion thing taken care of. So I'm going to go through each of what I call 5 C's. These are conscious, deliberate decisions within your power to cultivate and control. And I'm not asking you to go against any state regulations. These are within constraints. Innovation actually happens better within constrained environments if these conditions exist. So I'm going to talk to you about these conditions. The first condition, something that is absolutely, immediately controllable, is the conversation. Our most powerful technology, our most powerful tool, our superpower force is our language, The number one book that I suggest that every educator read, but especially every educator that is about to move their staff into the web and into the world, is a book that is so old, but so rings true. It's a book by Peter Johnson called Choice Words. And what he looked at over decades and decades of language and literacy and culture is that the way we talk to one another, especially the way we talk to children, defines not only the work that they do, it defines their identity, their place, and their success. And it's very careful attention to language. And if you implement nothing else, implement the shift in how we talk, and we are the model of that. So I'm going to give you an example. When I was introduced to people at South by Southwest, I had an amazing chance to have dinner with the Zappos team, the Delivering Happiness team. I'm so obsessed with how they changed an entire culture. And I didn't even have to ask those questions because I sat around and met them. They're like, oh, hello, I am Diane. I am the, you don't want to shake my hand. I'm like, okay. I am the deliveress of happiness. I am Peter. I am the possibility protector. I am such and such. I'm this. I'm like, first you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then you're like, oh my gosh, they take their job title very seriously. And then she started going down her list of jobs, like this is what I do to protect the passion. This is what I do. I'm the passion interventionist or whatever it was. It is like, this is your job title. You're hired to preserve the passion. You're hired to, it was insane. And the same thing was for by Southwest. The CEO of Southwest is the CFO, Chief Fund Officer. And I'm like, it might be kind of a silly thing out front, but when I ask 5-year-olds and I say, okay, well, all the world changers line up, every 5-year-old runs to the door. But if I said that right now, okay, all the world changers right now, go get some coffee. You'd be sitting there like, I call myself a world changer. It changes you when you enter the conversation with your passion public. You're going to do this activity, but we're not going to. But I do want you to take this back, because even if you're teachers, or you might be thinking, I'm sure not, that this is ridiculous, this is so stupid, how can putting this poster up make a difference? I have 2 years of data that says it makes a difference. So I had the chance in this last year to be on Seth Godin's Domino team, and this comes from his book, Lynchman. This is how he started every meeting with the team. You are a genius, and then I added this. And the world needs your contribution. I've switched it a little bit, and I say the world expects your contribution. So you better own your genius. You better label what kind of genius you have. And you better come to the table ready to contribute that in a humble and in a fierce way. And so I started showing that in schools, and I started in middle school, because I'm like, if it can be proven in middle schools, I can work anywhere else. So these teachers are like, Angela, that's so stupid. Are you kidding me? I got 8th graders. You don't know 8th. I'm like, I know 8th grader. I said, put it up there. So they put it up there, and the kids kind of balked and everything. And then I said, but you have to label it. You have to take it a step further. So today, what are you going to contribute? And start labeling. So what is it that Sister Mary contributes, so that when you see a problem like that, you're like, I need Sister Mary. I need to do that. Like, that's bad to do. I'm sorry. That I need her here. Or I need Patrick over here. Because that's how work gets done. If you have something to do and you've got 3 days to do it, I need that person and that person and that person. You make your dream team. And I help kids do that. So this was a little kid that's been through all this like stress and every label under the sun. And the teacher's like, I don't think he has a genius. I said he does. And so I went in the classroom for about 3 days, and like, this kid sticks with stuff like no tomorrow. Now, it's not stuff that is school stuff, but his tenacity and perseverance are. So he is the one when you need to stick and study to keep people moving and keeping focus on the thing. He's the stick-to-it guy. I want you to talk to him about that, because if you don't have a stick-to-it person in a problem, so she started saying that. So she got called out of the office, and she came in, and you know those little door hangers that are on the doors, like, please don't disturb, you know, for busy? They have that on the door, please don't disturb genius at work. And then he had this on his head, genius at work. And he comes home, he runs to his mom, he's like, Mom, I'm a genius. She's like, yeah, baby, you are a genius. was like, no, Mom, seriously, I'm a genius. Nobody sticks to things. So, you know, when Miss Maiers, when she needs me, I am the calling guy for that. So you can read this on my blog. His mom commented on the blog on how much this changed his life. She's been in 10 years of intervention with him. She had given up hope and everything, and now he's a superstar in the classroom because he's the stick-to-it guy. Do not underestimate the words that we use. Don't say good morning, boys and girls. Say good morning, readers. As scientists, our work today is about blank. So writers, how are we going to attack this? What do other writers do? Does that make sense for us? Do not underestimate our language. This is what kind of culture we build in just a few weeks. Owning of genius. I'm a genius because I recycle. The world needs me to help keep it clean. Apparently the world needs cute people as well. I'm a genius because I help people with cancer. The world needs me to help save lives. Ella is going to go to science class a lot different because what she leads with is her genius. She may hate science. She may absolutely hate, doesn't want to study a molecule to save her life, but she will do it. She will fiercely do what is uncomfortable and hard because it is necessary to do that because this is her end goal. People will dribble a basketball for 100 hours because the game is worth it to them. You're not making the game worth it. All right, so we're going to do that right now. Our second C is we need to flip our mindset, our focus, our attention to contribution and stop obsessing about consumption. I don't care what you map out, I don't care what you buy, I don't care what order it goes. If we do not shift drastically the conversations in our schools to focus on the nature and kind of contribution that is demanded, consumption is a non-negotiable. Because you obsess about consumption, how much are you going to consume, how fast are you going to consume it, do they remember what, even if they think critically about what they consumed, it doesn't matter. Your identity in the world and the web will be measured. And who cares how long it'll take the state test to catch up? It will be measured by the nature of your contribution. And guess what? The rubric is the world. You don't get to decide because you put 5 little paragraphs in there with perfect spelling and you read 77 books with 57 phonemes per second or whatever we measure is appropriate consumption. It is the nature and quality of your contribution that you and our students are already being defined for. Let me give you an example. This was a survey that I did 2 years ago when the web was really just getting its hands around what this evolution of human genius and capital was all about. And I asked them, no matter what industry you're in, what is the #1 attribute for success in that community, on or offline? I wordled it. That's a new word, I wordled it. And there it is. You are expected to share. And you better not come to the barbecue. You know when you have those neighborhood barbecues and you go to the store and fake it? Like you put somebody else's goods and you put it in a pot of, I've done that. You put it in it's for their own good, trust me. Put a pot of their own and people don't care if it is crappy, if it is made with your heart, if you've delivered something original and creative. So here's how I make that tangible. This is why we live in extraordinary times. We should look at that and embrace it as, oh my gosh, we get to live in this world of abundance, because individuals have owned their genius and contribute something original every second. Every second. By their contributions, freely, we get to live different lives. We get to live different lives because of innovations. We get to live different lives because of knowledge. I'm so sorry. We get to live different lives because we get to connect with individuals that have touched us and impacted us by their strength and power and passion of their contribution. And we don't talk about any of this with kids. All we talk about is how fast you're going to read that, how many books you're going to read per minute. Well, you read 20 minutes a night. It doesn't matter because in order to produce content that resonates and makes sense and impacts the world, which would, by the way, motivate you to read 7,000 books if one person wrote a comment on how your summary of that book rocked their world, you're going to read 1,200. These are the way that content, confirmation, and communities grow on the web. The web is not data-driven. It is not fiber-driven. It is passion-driven. because it requires passion, fierce commitment, deep study, unwavering, unstoppable confidence, because it's very hard to share something with a million people. Probably one of them isn't going to like what you share. These are the touch points of what content matters. And you are judged on this. You actually, we won't go into this, have a score by the way people react to your content, whether you unveil it or not. It isn't like, well, you posted 77 things or you put up 80 videos. It posts and labels and categorizes and ranks the reactions of people to one video. So this is how I make it tangible with 5-year-olds. I say, boys and girls, here's our work today as writers. Here's our work today as scientists. Here's our work today as mathematicians. It is our responsibility that when we create today, and when we get ready to contribute to whatever audience it is, that it is worthy of the world that we want to change. I call this wow writing or wow math or whatever, worthy of the world. So I'm not making up this rubric, so we got to do some research. Because I'm not the one who decides what is worthy of somebody's time, somebody's attention, somebody's effort, somebody's honor. We're going to research that. So we went on different sites that had high ratings, and we looked at YouTube and what videos, and it isn't all, you guys, it's not cats hitting walls. It's really powerful content. And then we read the contribution guidelines for certain blogs, certain sites. We went to the writing gallery, and they talked about we will not accept writing. It didn't say it doesn't have correct spelling. It said that it wasn't empathetic, that didn't honor the community that you're in. And so these kids made this list of 37 attributes. These are the dumb adult web people that got it down to, well, here's how content spreads. Well, you talk to 5-year-olds, they have 37 attributes of what makes content worthy of the world, whether that world is somebody sitting at your table or 10 million people. And they hit it all on the nail. It must be unique, it must stand out, it must be different, it must have a powerful message. It must be your idea, your voice, your thinking. It must be good, it must prove you studied. It must be honor, it must show honor. These are 5-year-olds. Oh, by the way, in school it isn't meeting whatever we say they're not meeting in terms of consumption. But they can measure contribution. This is making passion tangible. This is making passion tangible. The third C is a compass. As a leader, we hold the compass. Not the state texts, not the legislators who are protecting the child in the last, I don't know how long, not even our parents and community, they're part of it. But ultimately, we stand at the head of the ship. And passion doesn't require a map. Passion is strangled by a map that says, you have to do this on this day, you have to do this on, one of the quotes that I got from, I forgot where it was, IDEO or whoever I saw, said, hierarchy guarantees the death of innovation. Passion can't exist in a hierarchy. So it has to flow. That requires a compass where to channel and move where it goes. But the most important point, and this is illustrated in one of my favorite books, I love these guys, they did back in napkin. They did all the business plans for major corporations that are doing passion-driven work, like Southwest Airlines and Virgin Airlines. But Dan Schiff keeps saying that when you discover what the point, what the destination is, that it is your obligation to present it where you highlight that future destination like a postcard. They call it postcard destination. So here's how Southwest did it. Every restaurant, from the hotel, staircases had this on there. Everywhere I looked, this is my first image, my first postcard from the destination I was going to. Welcome to paradise. Welcome to paradise. What was I expecting when I walked through? Any establishment, any session, any restaurant, what was I expecting? Paradise, and they delivered. Can you imagine? Welcome to such and such elementary. Welcome to Massachusetts Public Schools. Welcome to MassCue. Welcome to paradise. Here's how I'm going to provide the conditions for it to be paradise for you. Here's a peek at coming attractions. Here's what you'll experience when you're here. This is a little greeting from your future. You will have access in this paradise to content that you've never, ever, ever had access to in the history of humankind. Even 2 years ago, if I wanted to go to the Smithsonian and say, you know what, could I just have like one item from the National Archives, I'd like to share it with my kids, it would be like taken away with Secret Service now. 1 billion items, 1 million items. Every item in the National Archives is free with a click of a button, and it's available to anyone. That's awesome. That's paradise. You don't have to think about what life is like in a different country or what life is like. Do other kids feel this or do other people feel this? You can ask them. My son had a high school report and he had to study some country and he made a 3D map out of pancake batter. Honestly, like a, whatever you want to call it, like Cheerios and pancake batter. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, we're trying to replicate the geography of whatever country he drew out of a hat. I'm like, really? How about going there? How about going there? And like having them turn the camera around and say, this is the geography of Uganda. This is the geography of Des Moines, Iowa. This is what snow looks like. Zoom in. Wow, this is your future. You can do this right now. Not only to find things out about content, but to meet with people that you get to have at your table, to learn from, to be colleagues with, to be influenced by at the click of a button, and it's free. This is your future. You not only can do fun, cute things and connect with people and contribute content, you can be a part of the change in the world. And if you type in World Read Aloud Day, you'll hear a story of how these fifth graders absolutely helped me as a global ambassador. I was one of 12 last year to fight the billion people that are not allowed literacy as a right. And they were part of absolutely making history by pulling together over 66,000 individuals in one day for 24 hours to read and celebrate the power of language together. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have changed the world if I didn't have these 5 fifth graders helping. We can direct and we can channel all we want, but if we do not give them a place where they want to go, a place that we say there has never been a smaller gap between impossible and possible any other time in human history. Do you want to see an example of that? Let me show you. Two minutes ago, 2 years ago, 2 seconds ago, what I'm about to show you was impossible. That gap is this small right now. How many of you want to take a peek? How many of you want to go with me? You should be raising your hands right now. I didn't do a good job. I didn't do a big switch again, for Pete's sake. Wow, I failed. That is what we should be presenting. We are like sending them the postcard to paradise, and on the back we're going, now, beware. When you go there, 77 people have died of, food poisoning. There are 44 murders every 3 seconds, and then, you want to go? We are giving them the doom and gloom. Probably this happens. I'm not doubting these, but I'm certainly not going to put it on the back of a postcard and hope that I'll get tourists. We have to want them to say, to beg, you have to go with me. I'm going to bring you here. You're going to be one of the ones that might eat something and get food poisoning, but we're going to this restaurant. You want them to say, take me, please, beg me. And that is exactly what kids do, because I present them with what their future is. This won't surprise you. What might surprise you is how you define courage. And I think one of the most beautiful examples of courage being an ordinary act. It doesn't have to be something where you have to put on a cape and you have to, build, the school of the future and, make it 3D and turn yourself inside out in a pretzel. It's a decision. Rosa Parks made a decision that day. She said, this is one decision and one woman. I am not going to sit in the back of the bus. She didn't intend to change law, to change history. She made a very simple, and at that time, very ordinary decision. I'm not going to sit here today. Can we do that? That's what courage is. Courage isn't miraculous giant acts. They're small acts of conscious decision making. But she didn't move. That's the key. She didn't move. And she went first. She didn't wait for somebody to make that decision and analyze it and evaluate, do a pilot program of it and do this. She did it. I didn't say that out loud. Principles. She did it. And she stayed there. And maybe something bad would happen. And maybe not. But she said, this is the decision I'm going to own today. And I'm going to see what happens. And here is probably the most courageous decision that you will absolutely make in your career. This is what will define your legacy. It is not what you decide to say yes to. It is what you decide to say no to. And sit on no. And say, even though I have data coming out of my ears that asking kids to read something and answer stupid questions at the end of the chapter doesn't not only define comprehension, it destroys the soul of the reader. I've got decades of data. And we read it and go, well, it's only 15 minutes a day. Well, they're going to not have to do that in 4th grade. Well, what's it hurting? It's hurting passion. Say no to anything that does not preserve and protect and destroy passion. And it's hard, because even when you do say no, your teachers have heard yes for so long. They have this mindset of, they told me and we have to do. I've been in the presence where I've actually pulled they out of whatever office they were in, and I say they, tell them they don't have to do this. And there's an uproar from the crowd. There's lots and lots of studies about it. There's a really interesting on the monkeys and bananas, that you're so conditioned to do dumb stuff in education that even when everybody, like it's so obvious, this shouldn't be done, and we just do it. Say no. It's courageous. My last thought, my last but not least seed, is that passion is absolutely a choice. You have it. This is an inside-out revolution. If you don't like the change that you're seeing in the world, the only way to handle it in everything that it is to choose who you are and what you stand for and what you'll sit and not move about. Passion is a choice. I thought I loved Jim Collins, and now I really love Jim Collins, and he speaks about this in unbelievable detail. If you love data, if you love statistics, this is it. Because he talks about, even with the idea of wanting to be great is not enough. You have to choose to say no, you have to choose to sit, and you have to choose the responsibilities and the consequences that follow, and they may not be successful. But those companies and industries and individuals thrive because they were great by choice. Small, deliberate, singular, ultimately unexciting choices that they made every day. And that's what I need you to see when you look at this. You can choose to be overwhelmed. This is a real-time counter. 1 second on the web, how much content is created. How much overwhelmed. So it kind of makes those like curriculum maps a little ridiculous, right? So what are you going to put on, quarter 3, 2 years from now? I don't know, since data changed 3 seconds ago. But you can choose to be overwhelmed. You can choose to close your eyes. You can choose to, say this. Oh my gosh, I can't handle that right now. We've got to do this, and I just got to focus on this, and I can't control that, so just shut it off right now. You can choose this. Why me? Oh my gosh, we were doing just fine until the stupid iPads came along. I finally got them all excited about, the little notebooks in the lab, and we just got that in 3 days ago. Now, dang Steve Jobs, dang Apple. No, why me? Why me? Or you can say this. Why not me? Why not me? No other school's doing this. No other principal's doing this. No other world is doing this. Well, it can't be me. Why not? Why can't it be you? And thank goodness that so many people in the world said that. Why not me? Why not me? Why not me? To say, all the world changers, line up. All the world revolutionaries, line up. All of the passionate geniuses, line up. Don't sit. Say, okay. Okay. Passion is the genius of genius. If you don't do it for you, I'm going to leave you just with this thought, just a little more persuasive. The 5 C's. If you don't change the conversation for you, if you don't help me, what's the 2nd C? If you don't change the conversation, if you don't demand contribution, if you don't point the compass in a direction that you want to run to, if you don't take courageous, unfrivolous, or unfancy acts and stick to it, if you don't say no, for you,